Hello everybody and welcome to my top 10 favorite movies of 2019. Those of you who follow me know I love two things. I love swimming, I spend my life in the pool, and I love movies. I watch a ton of movies, and every year I like to put together a list of my favorite movies of the year, so here is my top 10. Before we dive in, I'm gonna go over some of my honorable mentions. It was painful for me to leave a few of these films off of my list because they were so good, but anyway, the first honorable mention was Jojo Rabbit. I loved that movie. Also, Parasite might win Best Picture at the Oscars. I love Parasite, didn't quite make it in. Here's a movie that I thought for sure was gonna make it in when I saw it, and then it ended up not making it in. That was Ad Astra, and then Rocketman and Captain Marvel all missed the cut. Great movies, just weren't quite in my top 10. Real quick before we get started, I'm not saying these are the 10 best movies of the year. These are just the movies that I like the most for various reasons. At number 10, I have Booksmart. One of my favorite movies of all time is Superbad, where it's just a small group of high school dudes having a wild night together, and it made me laugh so hard I cried. That's what I got with Booksmart, except it's just a couple of girls, and I could not believe how much this movie made me laugh. Number 9, Ford v Ferrari. This movie is for anybody who has ever had a dream or a goal and they would do anything to achieve it, where they would dedicate their life to something. I think even if you don't know anything about racing and cars, which I don't really know a whole lot about, there's something that really resonates with people about just the spirit of commitment. The racing scenes, God, it's just such an exciting movie. I loved it. At number 8, I have Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I could not believe how much fun I had with this movie. There is so much that I loved, so much action, so much awesomeness, so much force use. And I'm not like the world's biggest Star Wars guy, but I felt like I was just smiling the whole time. I mean, the whole Poe, Rey, and Finn dynamic was awesome. I loved the Kylo and Rey story arc and the conclusion, how it tied it all together. I really enjoyed Star Wars. Number 7, this is a movie that I wish I'd seen in theaters. Allie and I missed it, we didn't see it, and then I even waited after it came out on streaming to watch it, and I finally got around to it about a month ago, and that is Alita Battle Angel. In a year where you had films like Avengers Endgame and John Wick Chapter 3, just some of the craziest, coolest, most awesomest action you've ever seen, Alita Battle Angel stood out to me as being very unique and captivating and cool on its own. I'm praying for a sequel. I loved this movie. Number 6, Knives Out. Rian Johnson, oh, crushed it. It's a modern day hilarious version of Clue that I just had, everybody needs to see this movie. Number 5, Joker. I will never forget, after Joker ended, at the end of the movie, I was sitting next to my buddy Ian and I turned to him and we just looked at each other like, what did we just witness? Like, what did we just watch? It was so dark and so raw and so real. And, you know, I'm a little bit biased. One of my favorite comic book characters and just movie villains of all time is the Joker. You guys who watch my videos know I have a Heath Ledger Joker poster in my garage. I've been a fan of Batman and the Joker forever, but there's a reason this movie made $1 billion. It is incredible, just the way that it shot everything. I saw it 3 times in the theaters. It's amazing. Number 4 is a romantic comedy. And here's the thing, I don't love a whole lot of rom-coms, but when they're done well, I really appreciate them. There are really only 2 things that romantic comedies have to do well in order for it to be just a good movie. There has to be a good relationship between 2 characters that I buy, that is real, and there's a real connection. And then number 2, it just has to make me laugh. This year's The Long Shot with Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, I don't know what it is, but I loved this movie. I believed that they actually liked each other, that there was a real attraction, and I laughed my face, like I laughed so hard. I just laughed so, I've rewatched this movie more than any other movie this year, I think. At number 3, I have Toy Story 4. Anyone who knows me knows I have a real soft spot, a real affection for the Toy Story franchise. I'm the same age as Andy in the movies, and I kind of grew up with this franchise. And number 4 was so freaking good. This is not a kid's movie. It's a kid-friendly movie, but this is a movie that deals with really heavy adult subject matter. It's a story about moving on. It's a story about finding your purpose in life. Woody in the movie is struggling with his identity. Like, who is he now that he no longer has an owner to look after and to take care of? And that is such a real human emotion that only adults can really wrestle and grasp. And on top of that, it's just the funniest of all the Toy Story movies. It cracked me up. I loved Loved it. Number 2, I have Uncut Gems. This movie probably caught me by surprise more than any other movie I watched this year. This movie is an adrenaline-filled, chaotic nightmare of a life that you are witnessing and taking part of with Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is so good in this movie. I mean, so good. And I was literally, as I was watching, I was rocking back and forth, just shaking with anxiety about what I was witnessing. And it's something that I'll never forget that feeling. I couldn't believe how much I liked this movie. And number 1, if you guys haven't guessed it yet, it is the big one. I think when we look back at 2019 from a film perspective, what is gonna have the biggest legacy? What is the movie that everyone is gonna talk about? And it's gotta be Avengers Endgame. This movie stuck the landing after a 20+ film buildup over a decade of movies, a story arc finally coming to the conclusion, and it nails it on the level of a Lord of the Rings Return of the King. It has the great, bombastic, most ridiculous action sequence, the most awesome fan service we've ever had, probably ever in a movie. But it's not just the action that's done well in this movie. It's the smaller character moments where they're dealing with tragedy and loss and an uncertainty and in a world-ending type of environment that is just, I mean, guys, it's the Avengers Endgame. I mean, you know, this is the movie we're gonna talk about for decades to come. And it's my favorite movie of the year because I had the best time, the best experience sitting in the theater and watching this movie for the first time. And then again on repeat viewings, just that feeling, that experience. So that's it, guys. That's my top 10 favorite movies of the year. It's not a definitive list. I mean, it's not set in stone. Things shift and change over time, I'm sure. But as of right now, as of today, as I'm recording this video, those are my thoughts. So, what are your favorite movies of the year? Let's have a conversation. Go down to the comment section below, drop down some of your favorite movies. Let's talk about this. Am I crazy? What do you guys think? Make sure you're following me on social media, at SwimMiller on Twitter and at CodyMiller on Instagram. Vlogs every Wednesdays. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and until my next video, I will see you guys later.